Roma Soisa is a former newcomer and a longtime resident of Scarborough. She's passionate about assisting newcomers settle successfully in Scarborough. She is currently serving as an independent facilitator and life coach. She has served the nonprofit sector in Scarborough for over 22 years, specializing in areas such as employment, career counseling, workshop facilitation, skills training, and settlement services for newcomers. She considers herself as a diamond polisher, cutting, shaping, polishing, and shining precious diamonds as needed. Only her diamonds are people. And in all her work, her ultimate goal is to empower, motivate, and guide individuals to become their best versions and shine bright in what they have and where they are now. So please welcome Nairoma Daisoisa. Hello, Nairoma. How are you?
Hi, Jade. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for joining us. So as a member of the advisory committee, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. And one of the questions was, why did you want to get involved?
Why did I want to get involved? Well, first, I have been a member of the TEQ LEP for a long time. I think since 2011, because I was then as a part of a member of a service provider. And I had this great relationship with TEQ LEP. And after I left that particular job, I still wanted to get involved. So I came in as a volunteer, as a resident. And so I volunteer for the Health and Wellbeing Action Group and also the Residents Group, and also volunteering with the steering committee of TEQ LEP. And this is where I found Isabel, and I worked with Isabel for some time. And then she told me about this new project, Scarborough Newcomer SNSC. So, and I thought, oh, okay, that sounds like a great project. And I'm very passionate about working with newcomers. Although I came to the country more than 3 decades, I think, I'm still a newcomer. I'll always be the newcomer. And so that is how I came to the advisory committee as a volunteer.
Oh, perfect. So how are you involved in regards to being a part of the advisory committee, and what does that look like?
So I'm involved. I consider myself as a mouthpiece of the residents, the newcomer residents of Scarborough. And and I also still work closely with newcomers. And I have always worked with newcomers. So I know what is happening in the community. I've been living in this community for over 30 years. And so it's an opportunity for me to pass on what's happening with the newcomers and their needs and their concerns and their issues and everything that goes on with newcomers. So that's one of the things that I feel that it is my role to communicate that to the committee.
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit about what you've done with the advisory committee so far, or anything that you think you could share?
Well, I definitely attended the meetings. So you just started it in February. And so I believe that it's really important to attend the meetings on a regular basis so that we keep on top of things and what's happening and actively participate. And I have, since it's just starting, I have spoken to some of my contacts, in fact, about this launch, and try to give them some information, educate them a little bit about what this means to them and their participants. And also, I like to further encourage and motivate people to join the committee, because I feel that this is a large field compared with education or skills training or employment. It is life, you know. Newcomer services settlement is anything between birth and death. It is settlement, and there could be needs are so diverse. So the more we have representing the community along with the service providers and the funders, and I think that we can have a better picture of what the needs are, and so that the project can benefit in presenting or creating the best model for funding. And so I hope that that will come through.
Okay. Thank you, Niroma. I'd like to open up the floor to our participants. If you have any questions that you'd like to ask Niroma as an advisory committee member, now would be a great opportunity. All right. So Kathy, thank you for your question. So Kathy's asking, what kind of decisions has the advisory made thus far, and what other decisions are anticipated?
Well, I think that would be more of Isabel question.
Let me see if I can keep my internet going to answer that question, but thank you, Kathy, for that. So far, the advisory committee has discussed and made decisions around how we go about bringing together different groups, folks from the different stakeholder groups. So how we make sure that we're reaching the different communities and people within the Scarborough community. And that's really just the first kind of stage of that conversation, as this is something that we will have to be considerate of as we go through the project. But we've talked about, the advisory committee has talked about how to kind of do that in different ways. So for example, through the environmental scan that the project is completing right now, they have given their feedback about, you know, different examples of ways this is done within the community and different ways they can reach out to folks. The advisory committee itself is there to kind of advise on the process to make sure that it's inclusive, that the project meets its objectives, and that different folks, including themselves, obviously, are there to provide input and ideas. And as we mentioned, they represent a broad range of stakeholders and are connected to a broad representation of the Scarborough community itself.
Thank you, Isabel. Kathy, I hope that answered your question. Are there any other questions that anybody else would like to ask? Okay. All right, looks like there's no more questions. So I want to thank Niroma. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking the time to speak about your role as an advisory committee member.
Thank you, Jade, and thank you, Isabel. And I just wanted to also just add this, and I think if I got the name correct, Saifullah just asked a question about taking part. And I think this would be a great opportunity for people like him and everybody else who are residents of Scarborough to participate in something like that. And, you know, it's a great learning opportunity. And I think the time that I spent is just, it's giving and taking both contribution and also receiving, because there's a lot of people from different sectors, the service providers and the funders and all kinds of people with a lot of expertise that they can also, there's an opportunity to learn. So thank you for the opportunity.